Hey everyone, welcome back. In the last video, we covered introduction of STL. Today we will cover vector in STL, one of the most used containers in programming, especially in competitive coding and placements. So let's understand what vectors are, how they work behind the scenes, and how to use them. A vector is like an array but dynamic, means it is similar to the arrays, but arrays are of fixed size, but vector is of dynamic size, means we can increase or decrease the size of an vector during the runtime of program. And vector also contains some functions which is useful to perform some operations on data. Let's look at how we are going to declare a vector. So to declare a vector, we will first write vector, then int, then variable name, then curly brackets, and here we can see our vector size of 3, but we don't have to mention the size of vector. Let's say if I was declaring an array, I would have to write like this, okay, but in vector I don't have to assign the size of an vector. Okay, this is our vector which containing some values. Let's create an empty vector. Okay, I declared a vector. Now I want to add data while running the code. So let's say initially I don't have anything in my vector, it is completely empty and no size. Okay, there is no size of the vector, it is 0. Let's say if I want to add value to the vector, we will write v dot pushback of 10. Pushback is one of the functions which allow us to add value to the vector. So if I push value 10, it will add my value at the end of the array. Okay, and the array size will become 1 because we added a value. Let's say I want to add another value, pushback of 5, then it will add another value at the end of the array and the size will become 2. So as we keep adding the value to the vector, our vector size will keep increasing. That's how we keep increasing the size of an vector and can keep adding the values. Okay, this is the function for adding a value to the vector. Now if I want to remove this value, I will be writing v dot pop back. So our vector size will again become 1. So pushback will add value at the end of the vector, popback will remove the value from the back. Okay, only from the back. Okay, not from front and middle. These functions do not work anywhere else except at the end of the vector. Okay, let's look at another function. Let's say if I want to know the size of the vector. To know the size of the vector, we have another function which is we call size. Okay, which will return the size of vector. So initially our size of vector here was empty, so we can say size was 0. Here our size become 1, here our size become 2. Okay, here our size again become 1, and this v dot size will print 1. Okay, so that's how size functions work. Now let's look how we are going to traverse in a vector, means how we are going to use loops in a vector. So vector is similar to the array, so we can use our standard for loop, right? Let's first create a vector of int v. Let's keep a value like this, and if I want to print all the values, so I will be writing for int I equals to 0, I less than, I don't know the size of the vector, so I will be writing v dot size, right? Because I can count 1 2 3 4, but system cannot count the size of a vector, so we will be using v dot size to find out the size of a vector. Then I plus plus, then cout. Vector is similar to array, so we can do indexing also. Then I also include spaces, so it will print my whole vector. Now there is another way to use loops, which is called range based loop. So how we are going to write for int. Okay, then we will write I. Let's take it x, then colons, then v. Here what's happening, v is our vector and x is similar to the pointer, and it is iterating over the values of the vectors and it is printing x. So that means x itself is a value, not a pointer, not a index. So we can also use, or we can also print our whole vector using for loop. Then there is another way which is our iterator, right? We discussed what is iterator in the previous lecture. Let's write for auto it v dot begin it not equals to v dot and it plus plus, then we will write cout it. Okay, let's look what is happening here. Let's say this is our vector. Okay, v dot begin is our pointer which is pointing at the first memory address of a vector. V dot end is pointing at the memory address outside the vector. Okay, and it is our variable name for that pointer, so means this loop is iterating over the memory address of the vector. Okay, so auto is our, we can say auto is one of the data type which in a runtime automatically decide which data type it is, right? Because we don't know the memory address data type. It can be string, it can be numbers, I don't know. So auto automatically figure out what is the data type for that pointer. So that's why we use auto whenever we are using iterators or pointers. And we are going till this, means if it reach v dot end it will stop here, and we are incrementing it plus plus, means we are incrementing in the memory address itself, because we already discussed memory address or vectors arrays store in a contiguous memory location. So if we are at this memory address, next element will be at this, next element will be at this, so it is in a contiguous. So these are three ways we can use our for loop for vector and other containers also. Okay, let's remove this first. I'm using stl.cpp file. Let's first declare our vector of size int and v equals to, let's say 1 2 and 3. Okay, here make sure you are adding a header file bit slash stdc plus plus dot h, because it is a header file which includes all the libraries for running a program. Okay, so let's try to print our whole array. Vector v dot size and I plus plus, then cout, then v I and space included. Okay, here you can see it is printing 1 2 3. Let's try another loop for auto x or v, then cout x. Let me also include handle. Here you can see it is printing 1 2 3 and 1 2 3. Let's try another one, cout handle for, okay, auto it v dot begin it not equals to v dot end, then it plus plus cout. It is a pointer, so we have to use star then, right? Because iterator is iterating over the memory addresses, so we have to access the value at that memory address. We have to use star. Here you can see it is printing same thing, right? Now let's say initially I have a value 1 2 3. I want to add more values, so what I can do, v dot push back. Let's say I added a 4 here, then v dot push back I also added a 5. Here you can see in the first vector it was 1 2 3. After printing first time we pushed back two values 4 and 5, then we printed again. So here you can see it is printing 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Let's remove a last value. So now you can see it is printing 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5, then 1 2 3 4. If you were using arrays you won't be able to do this operations. Okay, let's look other functions. Let's say if I want to add values in between the vector, means postback is adding at the end of the vector, but I want somewhere in the middle. Okay, let's first declare a vector int, then v, let's say 1 3 4 5. These are my values, and here you can see 2 is missing and I want to add 2 here. So there is another function we can use which is insert, v dot insert. Okay, then v dot begin iterator is pointing at the first memory address of an array. Now I want to add 2 here. That means I want to add this 2 at the second index, means after the 1. So I will write plus 1. Okay, what it is saying, it is first pointer plus 1, it is next to it. Now I want to add 2, so our vector will become 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so it is an index at which we want to include our value and the value itself. Now if I want to remove 4, okay, so to remove 4 we have another function which is v dot erase. Same thing, at what index we want to remove it, 0 1 2 3. it is at third index. So we will write v dot begin plus 3. So it will remove our 4 from the vector. In the last video we already seen how to use a sort function. So I will directly show you in a code. Now let's say this is my vector 1 1 3 4 5, and I want to write in a reverse order, means 5 4 3 1. Okay, so I want to print my vector from the back. So there is two way we can do it. One is we can use our simple logic, which is using loop, right? For loop we can initialize b dot size, means we are starting from index this. Okay, let me first write it, then I will clean, then we can write cout, then v of I. Okay, let's see what's happening here. This is our vector 1 2 1 3 4 5. This is our vector. Okay, size of vector is 4. Okay, we here calculated the size of the vector. Then there is -1 because our index is from 0 1 2 3, so it is 3. Basically this is -1 of the size of the vector, so it as the v dot size -1. So whenever you want to access the last index, you should know the size of the vector -1. So we are starting at the last index and we are going till the index number 0, and we are decrementing. So initially our I value is 3, then it become 2, then 1, then 0, then -1. Our loop stops here. Similarly it will be printing 4 3 1. Okay, so we can say we are reversing and printing it. Now there is another function which is available in the C++, which is reverse, which can help us to reverse our vector. So we will write reverse, then v dot begin and v dot end, right? So it will reverse your vector. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, let me remove this also. Okay, these our three loops and our vector is 1 2 3. Let's say I want to include a 5 after 1. Okay, so let me write v dot insert. Okay, first we will write v dot begin plus at what index we want to include. I want to include at the index 1. Then what is the value? I want to add 4. Okay, let's run it. Here you can see initially it is 1 2 3, then we included 4 at the index 1, so it is 1 4 2 3 and 1 4 2 3. Let's remove it here. V dot raise, v dot begin, at what index we want to raise? At the index 1. Let's run it. Here you can see it is printing 1 2 3, then inserting 4, then removing 4. Okay, let's use sort function. Sort, then v dot begin, v dot end. Okay, let's not remove it. Here you can see initially it was 1 2 3, then we inserted 4 here, then we sorted it in a ascending order, it become 1 2 3 4. Okay, now I want to reverse it also, means I want to print in a reverse order 4 3 2 1. So I will write reverse v dot begin and v dot and okay, let's run it. Here you can see it is printing in a reverse order. Okay, there is other functions which we can use. Let's say if I want to print first value of the vector, I can write 0 index, right? There is another method which is v dot front, which will also print me the first value of the vector. Okay, so similarly if I want to print last value, we can write v dot size, because we don't know the size of the array vector, sorry, then handle. Okay, similarly we can write v dot back. Here we are using our indexing method. Okay, v dot size is giving me the size of the vector and -1 is the giving me the last index of the vector, and we are accessing the value of the last index. And we can use one of the function which is vac, which will print me the last value of the vector. So it is printing 3 3. Okay, let's say if I want to clear my whole vector, I will write clear, means it will remove all the values from the vector. Now here you can see it is giving me a random value, means these are garbage values, and these giving me a 1 1. So it is clearing all the value except our first value. If I write here 5 and run it, here you can see it is clearing all the values except first value. Now we seen different type of functions. Now if we want to take an input into the vector, how we are going to do it? Let's first remove it. Let's first declare the size of the vector and take an input. Okay, now similar to the array, we can also assign size of the vector. Okay, this time it is using parenthesis, but in the array we have to use square bracket. Okay, now if I want to take input, I can write our index method where for int I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, or there is this method x, which is a range based loop. We can also use it like this. Okay, so it will take a input and will add to the vector. Okay, this is our 1D vector. If I want to declare 2D vector, I will write vector of vector int and the v. Okay, that's how we declare a 2D vector. And if we want to assign the size to the 2D vector also, say I want to create a matrix of 3 by 3. First decide the size of the rows, then I will write again vector with the size of 3 comma 0. So our first argument is for the size of the row, and the second argument is vector int and 3 comma 0. 3 is size of the column and 0 is our values, means our whole vector will contain zeros. If you write here 1, it will take whole vector as a 1. Accessing 2D vector is similar to the accessing 2D array. For int I equal to 0, I less than, let's take this time 3 because int j equals to, it is also 3 and j plus plus, then I can write 3 out. I'm printing, what is this? Okay, we cannot use our variable name again, so I will be writing max of I comma, sorry, I j. I will be using space here, and after every row I will move to the next row. Okay, let's comment it out, let's run it. Here you can see it is printing a matrix of 3 by 3 which all contains zeros. If I change here to -1 and print it, it will print me -1. Okay, so that's how we can declare a 2D vector and can initialize with the zeros. Okay, there are other functions which we haven't covered yet. In the future, as we move ahead, we will cover them if we need them. Okay, we cannot learn everything which we don't need it. We will only learn those things we will be using in a DSA or any other programming. Thank you everyone, have a nice day.